Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the Get Up and Dad podcast, the show where we interview hard-working parents doing incredible things. That can be anything from a super duper social media tech dad to a busy hardcore mummy blogger.
Let's get up and dance!
So today in the studio we have the amazing Caroline O'Neill. Who is Caroline? She has been in the retail business now for 11 years and has taken it to a completely different level in terms of putting her shop online. She has incredible skills in terms of creating online presence and has had huge success with Facebook and Instagram. She is the owner of Digg Children's Wear, Digg for Success, and most importantly, she's a mummy. So Caroline, thanks for joining us on the show. Can we start off by telling us how many kids you've got and how old are they?
Okay, thanks a million for having me. I'm honoured to be here. I love listening to podcasts, so when you asked me, I was like, yeah, count me in. So I have two wee boys. Pierce is 4.5 and Dara is 3.
Awesome. So Caroline, can you explain to me how you tell your kids what you do and how you've got to where you are now?
God, that's a big question. Well, because they're so young, they don't really understand much. They just know that I work a lot. But I've worked weekends from they were born. Like Pierce, I was only 3 weeks old whenever I had to go back to work. So it's just a way of life for us now. There's not too much explaining done apart from mummy has to work. And when you work hard, then you get maybe like to go somewhere nice at the weekends. On a Sunday, I'm always off. So I try not to do any events or speaking gigs or anything on a Sunday so that I can be with them. So because they're so young, I think it's just a way of life for us now. I don't explain too much. They just know their mummy and daddy work hard to get them the things that they need. And that's really all they need to know at this stage, I think.
In terms of the name Digg for Success and Digg Clothing, where did that come from?
So I was an occupational therapist before I had the shop, and I decided I wanted to go start my own business. And anyway, it's a long story, but I was opening a shop in Dungannon, men's, and it was actually menswear and kidswear at the time. And I couldn't think of a name, but I was only 26 whenever 25, sorry, I'm 36 now, 25 when I started the shop. So I had no finance behind me. I had it was very hard to get money off the bank at that time. So my dad helped me out to get started. And he said, if you feel you can do this, I'll support you, I'll help you. And whenever I was trying to think of a name, I was like, what am I going to call it? And my dad drives diggers. And I was firing names around, silly names, all the names under the sun. And I was like, I'd love to do something that shows him how grateful I am for what he's done for me. And it was actually a friend of mine said, why don't you just call it Digg? And my husband, it wasn't my husband at the time, Jared, said, what kind of name's that? That's a stupid name. And I was like, I like it. It's one word, it's catchy. I'll add another G, so it's not the traditional one, and it means something to me, and it'll mean something to me for the rest of my life. So I called it Digg, and we had a few comments at the start like, what does that mean? But now it's like a brand name nearly. Digg, everyone knows it and knows where it's at. So I'm so glad that it's a like a tribute to him, to Daddy, but also just means so much to me now as well.
Brilliant. I mean, it does work really well in terms of branding, because then you can lead on to other stuff. So like for instance, Digg for Success. Yeah. It just seems it actually seems like it means a lot too. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I mean, you're super busy. What is your favourite get up and mum thing to do with the kids? So for instance, I mean, today's a sunny day. Yeah. Or like for me, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going home. I'm going to be spending time outside. What would your favourite thing be to do? Like,
I'm not a very complicated person. I like to, because I'm never at home, our favourite thing to do is chill out at home. So like, we're not a big like go-to places. Yes, we like to go to the park, but we live in the country anyway. So like, my favourite thing is sleep a wee bit later, don't have to get a face of makeup on, don't have to dress the boys up, we lounge around, have a nice breakfast, go walking out around, because we live in the country, and make a nice lunch, and then maybe go visiting. Like, it's not glamorous thing that we do, but I just love to chill out with the boys and not feel that stress and that pressure of having to be somewhere. So if we're off for a long period of time, like a few days, we'll plan like to go here, there, parks or whatever, but just love being at home with the boys, really, to be honest.
Yeah, totally get that. I mean, one of the things that I love the most is I always try and make sure that we're sitting down for dinner time, so we're all down there as a family. You know, we can talk how the days went and stuff. And you know, I totally get that. Just doing the same.
That's what it's all about.
Oh no. So, can you tell me something you're highly interested in right now, or what's really going on?
So in the business sense, are you talking about, or
business sense?
Okay.
Or mummy say whatever.
Well, business wise, like we'll probably talk about Digg for Success, but because I've been in business for 11 years and I've had the struggles and still have many struggles, Loney, like it's not easy. I have this thing inside me where I want to help other businesses realise that they can sometimes do it themselves without having to pay big bucks out to big companies and then get themselves stressed because they're in debt. And also, if they can't do things, to realise that sometimes they do need to employ other people in order to move their business forward. You can stick your head in the sand for so long, but you'll get left behind if you don't take the steps. So like I in business sense, I have that sort of drive at the minute to help other businesses, and also in my own shop I have the drive for to bring retail like an experience in Digg, like where you're not just coming, like I honestly don't care if people walk in my door and buy clothes. That will all happen in time if the experience is right at the start. So I'm very much into what could I do next to make people feel like they're having a fun time when they come to Digg, or they just want to call in to see us. Or so definitely building on that in Digg Children's Wear and Digg for Success, just trying to grow awareness about how businesses can help, or how businesses can help themselves by educating themselves on digital things. And mum life wise, my husband just broke his leg, so I'm trying to be like, I'm nearly like a single parent. My hat's off to people who do this alone, because you know, I actually, you know, don't have him, and I'm only realising how much Jared does for me now that he can't. So I have great respect for people who do it alone, and so I'm also a carer because I'm looking after him. So really I'm just juggling mum life and business life at the minute. Nothing big going on at home, just getting by, really. It
does sometimes it just does feel like it's a big juggling act when you've got a business and you know, you've got kids, and then if there's something wrong with your spouse as well, I mean, that just makes it
and like I'm not trying to trivialize what happened to Jared, but like there's people who lose their partners, and people get terminal illnesses, and you know, I get very, as a mum too, you get emotional thinking about that, but you can't let that consume you, what's happening in other people's lives. But I'm very aware that what's happened to us is minimal compared to what happens to other people.
Exactly. And so one of the things you said there was you have this urge to kind of help businesses and stuff. Can you tell me some of maybe the problems that people are facing, or you know, as a general problem, or is it all just kind of different things?
Well, I suppose it depends what your business is, but I do see, like I work alongside Digital 24 in Belfast, they would have me on their mentor team, so I do like mentor a varied amount of businesses. But I think the main thing is the fear of social media at the minute, like, and I do believe I would say 90% of businesses need to be on there, like promoting themselves, otherwise they're going to get left behind. So I definitely take it on board when I meet a business to try and give them the confidence to overcome the fear of talking. Some people are fearful of, and if they can't get over that fear, maybe think of other ways they can employ people to promote their business for them if they can't speak. Some people are never going to be able to do what I do on Instagram, like talk like every day. Like that's just not possible for some people. It's not in them. So thank God there's influencers and bloggers and people who are active on social media who could do that for you. So I'm trying to educate businesses that if you can't do it, don't feel deflated. We'll find a way that gets your word about your business out there. So that's really what I focus on when I meet people. That's
brilliant. I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, see, trying to get like one of the things we always find difficult, or as a business, is trying to promote online, but it's also the consistency, trying to keep it. And that's one thing I think you're brilliant at, because every day I go on, and
I'm
you're
there.
always there.
Well, that's what people say to me, like, how do you do it? And you never stop. But if I stop, Loney, my business is
that's
screwed.
It needs to be constant.
Like I have to, and I say to people that sometimes people's social media doesn't work because they think, or their digital presence doesn't work. They think of it as an an aside to their business, but you have to make it part of your business. Like, I don't wake up every day and think, oh, what am I going to do on social media today? I actually think, what am I going to do for Digg today? But it's part of Digg. And if I wouldn't consider not opening my shutter, so why would I consider not opening my phone? And I try to tell people that, if you've got 7,000 people on Instagram, you mightn't have one person through your shop door that day, but you 7,000 people sitting waiting there to be fed information to. So don't ignore the power of it. So as I try to, you just have to train people's minds into thinking it's not an afterthought, it's part of your business.
Brilliant. So, I mean, you're running a retail store, you're running another company, Digg for Success. You're constantly online trying to keep up to date with stuff. How do you do the work mum balance?
Like, I'm not saying I have a work mum balance. I probably, like, over the 11 years I've cried a lot. I like Pierce is 4.5, like, and I've had very stressful times where I felt like, God, I'm not able to be there for him the way other mummies are. But I'd say about a year or 2 years ago, I don't know what changed, but I had to change my mindset or it was going to get me down, that I wasn't there for him at all times. But like, if you think about other people's situations, people who work night shifts aren't there when their kids go to bed, sometimes are there when their kids get up. You know, people who work 12-hour shifts aren't there to leave their kids to school or pick them up from school, you know, can't be there when they're sick. Like, I have perks as well as being working flat out as well. So I had to change my mindset and realize that I'm doing this all for them. They're happy children. They're not lacking. And, you know, you shouldn't beat yourself up because you have to work so hard. We all have to work hard, no matter where we're at. So, like, my mum would always say to me, God, like, you work so hard and I wish you had an easy way of life. And I'm like, Mummy, I get to leave the boys to school every morning. I get to pick them up in the evenings. I'm there for them to go to bed. Yes, I work all flat out in between that, but there's a lot of people who don't even have that. So I had to get my mind straight to help me balance it in my mind, because your mental health could be affected if you didn't. But once I got that, I'm actually fine now. I realise that I'm working hard for them and they're not suffering, so everybody's happy.
Brilliant. I mean that's one of the things I always worry about as well. I mean, I'm constantly busy, and I mean that's partly why I have Get Up and Dad, so I can go right. And sometimes I'll just stop everything and I'll just go and I'll go with them. And I do the school run as well. I mean, and I mean that's very important for me, just to get out and do the school run. You know. So in the last 11 years, you know, with setting up these companies and and becoming a mum, I mean, what have you found most difficult?
Probably what we've just talked about, trying to stay away from self-sabotage, beating myself up about it. You know, that's been hard for me. Like, people say to me, oh, you know, do you, like, I say now I don't work Sundays. Sorry, I should say that's what I've changed. I used to, like, if we opened on Sundays, I was the one working. If people asked me to do events, I went. If people asked me to speak at things, I did it on Sundays. And now, in the last year, I've said no more. That's the only day I have, Lonnie, with them. And I had to draw a line, because you would literally be doing 7 days a week, flipping 15 hours a day. So I said no. If it's only one day, it's a Sunday, and you know, you shouldn't work on a Sunday anyway, apparently years ago in the Bible. So I said, look, I'm just going to make this a rule now. And if somebody asks me, I'm not even ashamed to say I actually don't do things on a Sunday, because it's my only day with the boys. So that's what's changed over the 11 years. I've had to dedicate time and set it and just don't do anything that day. And apart from that, just, you know, you sort of just have to take it each day as it comes. You never know what life's going to throw at you. I didn't know Jared was going to break his leg, and I took vertigo and like all them things you just don't know. So I just feel like you can't plan, but as long as you're just doing your best, you'll get by, I think.
Awesome. So it's 2019. What if you could tell anything to yourself pre-mum? What would you say to yourself?
Pre-mum, I would say it's not going to be easy, but it's the best thing you'll ever do. And if people ever say to you, oh sure, you're too much of a businesswoman to have kids, or like that was said to me before I was married about think 6 years before I had the boys, and I would have got that comment a lot, you know, like, sure, you're too much into your business to have kids, and that was never the way it was. It just didn't happen when it should have. But I would say don't ever listen to that mindset that kids is what it's all about, my family is what it's all about, and I want more, and I don't want ever to look back and say oh, I was too busy to have any more, or too busy to spend time with them. So I'm working hard to try and maybe have an easier way of life in the future. And I just say to my pre-mum self, don't beat yourself up about having to work so hard, that you're doing it all for a end goal and for your future kids, I think is what I would say.
So, I mean, see, in terms of you having to kind of change your mindset, I mean, I imagine that's, you know, that's something a lot of people find difficult, you know. I mean, have you anything that you could say that could maybe, people who are maybe in the same situation as yourself, I mean, how do you do that, you know? And
you mean as in the business space, to try and promote your business? Is that what you mean?
In terms
or
of everything, you know?
Okay.
I mean, I have the same problems you have. I mean, I'm kind of looking at those and I'm going, yeah, I completely agree with you. But in terms of changing your mindset, like, it's just like, was it like like you said, really 2 years ago there? So, I mean, like, was it just like a switch where you went, right, I have to do all this? Or how do you explain to people how you do that, you know?
I think it's about getting focused in your mind, your goals and your reasons why you're doing it. So 2.5 years ago, I had just switched to my website, or opened my website, and there was very little sales, no sales, to be honest. After all this money and time invested, I was feeling like a failure. Like, I'd put all this work in, all this money in, and what had I got out of it? I had just two young like, there was only 17 months between Pierce and Dara, so they were tiny babies, and I was working like, people don't realise when you start a website, that's another business. So you said to me, you've Digg Children's Wear and you've Digg for Success, but I have Digg Children's Wear in Gannon, I have Digg Children's Wear online, and I have Digg for Success. People think that that's a side to but it's another business. So I remember my mum said to me, like, this is when it happened. My mum said to me, called in to see her, and she's like, stay for coffee, and I was like, no, I have to go, I have to can't even remember what it was. And she said to me, she didn't mean to be hateful, but she said, God, you've changed so much. And I just bust out crying. And I said, what do you mean? She said, like, you never have time, and you're working so hard, and what have you got to show for it? And them boys there and are dropped off here, and, you know, like, you never get time. And I said, so I went away that day, and I was so upset, and I thought, you know what, I have changed. I am not 24 anymore with no responsibilities, no kids, no businesses, and loads of time. I am not the same person, so I can't actually behave the same way that I used to behave. So I was beating myself up because I couldn't do all the things I used to do, but your life moves on so much, you have to change your mind. And I said to her, I came home that evening and I said, Mummy, you know, I have changed. I've got 2 children under whatever age they were, or 2. I've got 3 businesses, really. And she's like, what do you mean 3 businesses? And I said, well, I have Digg Children's Wear, and I have Digg Children's Wear online, and I have Digg for Success. And she said, oh, I never even thought of them being all separate entities. And I said, I have to work 3 times as hard, plus I have 2 she's like, I know. And she, you know, she didn't mean to hurt me, she was just upset because she seen me working so hard. So I think something has to happen sometimes for that click. But I had to train my mind that I'm not the same person. I can't beat myself up that I can't do the same things, and just move on with a new part of your life. And as for that was in the mum work-life balance that we're talking about. That's how I trained my mind for that, to realise I'm not the same person. And for the business side of things, I think businesses need to realise that, sit down and think, right, why am I doing this? Why am I going to do this Instagram story? Why am I doing this Facebook Live? Why do I have to write this blog? I have to do it for my business to survive. So if you want to stick your head in the sand and say, no, I can't, then your business won't grow. But if you're determined and you want your business to work, you're going to take the steps that's needed. And that's what I said. I'm not going to let my website fail. I've invested too much. What needs to be done? And just was a click, or I said, right, I'm going to do it. And I just threw myself into it. And that's why you're sick looking at me and listening to me this last 2.5 years, because I haven't been offline the whole time.
I love your stories. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Some of the stories that you're coming up with are really, you know, first of all, they kind of help me, and I'm going, totally relate to that, and I totally get that, and I'm so glad that you actually put that out there, because sometimes it's hard to put some things out, you know, and sometimes it's just good to get information from other businesses to know these are the difficulties you're having, and it's good to know that you're not the only person that's finding it hard, you know.
I think there's not really a big culture of other businesses putting out there how to help each other, really. And you know, I don't understand why, because like, flip me, like, this is people's lives, and I say, like, if I could do anything to help that business, I wouldn't even care. If it was another kid's clothes shop, I honestly don't care. Like, really, it's no threat. The place is big enough in the big World Wide Web. If I tell another clothes shop how to do something online, that is not going to affect my business. So I just think people need to change their minds and start thinking about collaborating more than like the enemy or a competition. Think about how we can help each other. That's not cheesy thing to say. It's a survival thing to say, I think.
No, I completely agree with you. For me, the big thing is collaboration, and a lot of people need to be working really well together to make things work. Because if they work well together, in a certain instance, if you look at costs, I mean, something might cost somebody a huge cost for something, but if 10 people go in on it to get something, it'll be a lot cheaper.
I remember you saying that at the Only Just Media. So I did ask you, like, could we afford you guys to do a video? And what you said, really, I was like, oh, I never even thought of that. So if you wanted a big video done for, say, Dungannon Town, if all the retailers came together, we could afford to do it. Yeah. So that was that's a good point.
But in that instance, so just let me explain what happened. There was there was a collaboration of a video between a lot of businesses in the Dungannon area, and in that instance, what they all came together, and it was a lot more affordable. So what also worked in that case for me is and here's my social media video stuff coming in. The more people that's in a video, the more shareable it is.
Yes.
So, for instance, the companies that you were working with are then going to share that as well, and you know that's going to help you and help the other business. So for me, that's why collaboration is such a huge thing, you know. Yeah. Okay, so what's next? What are you planning for next? Anything in the pipeline?
Well, Digg Children's were like people said to me, would you open another shop in another town? Like, I'm already because I'm thinking my family first, right? So always is my family first. And if I opened another shop in another town, imagine how I would be stretched so much running from different places. And also, it's definitely, that's not on the radar. But the Digg Children's were, as a brand, like, has so much potential online. Like, I would love like a multi-currency, multilingual website where people can shop all, I developing my website, probably working on it, developing an in-store experience and different things, which we have loads of things planned over the summer. Like, I have done loads of things in my shop, Loney, and when I come home, my husband or my daddy or mummy will say, well, did you make much money today? And I'm like, no, not very much. Not a penny. And they're like, why do you do these? Like, why do you put so much effort into these things? But I do believe that those things that I've been doing over the last few years has helped my business grow so much in money later on. Like, it's not always about money, but
long-term outcome.
Yes, but let's face it, if there was no money, there'd be no Digg Children. I need money in the till, but sometimes you have to put the money aside and think about your customers and the experience you're creating for them, and make them feel like it's not a place where it's just, I want your money. I don't want it Digg to be like that. So we're working on loads of things in store for that. And then family wise, like I already said, I'd like more children, and I'd like to, we went on our first holiday last year, I hadn't been on holiday since my honeymoon abroad, and we went to Spain, and every day I say to the boys when we're putting on their wee footsies, what does this remind you of? Holidays. And we just had the best holiday ever, switch off. So another holiday maybe, and just have a happy, healthy life. With Jared breaking his leg and all, you can see how things can change just like that. And that was only a simple thing. Like, he could have broke his back, God forbid, or done something. So I just want to just be happy that we're healthy and happy every day, and just try to get by, really. And then, Digg for Success. So that was Digg Children's were my family, and then Digg for Success. I have a big event coming up now on the 20th of May in the Glenavon. It is all about, it's called Let's Talk Shop. So people say, oh, do you just have to be a retailer like on the high street? No, it covers Facebook ads, which a lot of people don't know how to do properly. They're wasting a lot of money boosting and not doing it in the ad section of it. Digital 24 are going to cover that. Shopify is going to be covered. Lots of people don't realise how cheap it is to use the Shopify platform to sell on their Facebook shop and Instagram, even if they're not ready for the website thing. Like, I've been through the getting ripped off for websites, and I know how easy it can be done if people just need to train themselves how to do it. So we've got Mark Kelso from Shopify, from Glaze Digital, he's a Shopify expert in Northern Ireland. He's going to be there. Emma Gribben to talk about email marketing, how to stay in touch with your customer. I'm going to do a session on content creation for social media. We're going to have Only Just Lucy doing branding. Danielle Donahue talking about bloggers and influencers. Divine Photography is going to cover how to take the perfect photo for your Instagram and Facebook and your website. So it's like jam-packed day of, I go to loads of events, I'm sure you have too, and sometimes you walk away going like, I knew I had to do all that, but I still don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I know.
So that's what this Let's Talk Shop is. We're actually going to show you how to set it up, do it tomorrow when you leave here.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the advert online, and I mean, it sounds very practical.
Yes, that's what it has to be.
Whenever I go to events, I'm either going to get motivated or learn something.
Yeah.
And I hate walking away with nothing.
Yeah. Like loads of times, don't get me wrong, most events I've been to, I'm like, yeah, that was so good. But I already knew that I needed to do all that. Yeah. I still have no idea how to do it. So that's why I started to do Digg for Success events, because mine are, this is what you need to do, and now take out your book, this is how you do it. So that's why Digg for Success. So there's very little tickets left, and I think the reason why, all I did was make a video to promote it. I didn't even really have to push it, because people realised that it was an actionable event, and that's why tickets have went so fast, where they're going to learn and be able to put it into practice that day or the next day in their business. So that's what I want.
Okay.
So
brilliant. The only other thing I kind of wanted to ask you was, I mean, just based on what you said there, in terms of like, you also seem so involved with the community as well. One of the things that you had put up was photos in your shop window of all of the kids and stuff. I mean, how important do you think it is from that aspect, to be involved in the community?
Like, without the community, we wouldn't have a business. So, that's not something that I decided that I was going to do. It's just something that's in me and in, I think, but I don't think it's something that you can force either. Like I wouldn't say to people, oh, you must start involving your community to grow your business. I think it has to be an organic, natural thing for it to come across properly anyway. But I do think that you should explore those avenues if they're there. Like those kids that were in my window at Christmas, like, there was no clothes in my window at Christmas. It wasn't about selling. These were kids with disabilities who had never been involved in any kind of modelling campaign or any kind of fashion, or been actually given the opportunity to be part of something like that. And like, it didn't, don't get me wrong, like if you were asking me what was the financial benefits of having those kids in my window, absolutely none. But the actual impact that had in Dungannon, the impact, like, people came in and said to me, like, and if you were a business person, would you be thinking, well, did they buy anything when they came in? No, I did not care. People actually just stood at the door and shouted into me every single day. That window has just made me smile. Those kids are unbelievable. And I just think, it makes you feel better about life and your business in general if you can involve the community into it, and don't underestimate, the power that it can have on just feeling like a better person, I think. And can I just say as well, thank you for us. I think what you're doing as well is fantastic, and like giving a voice to like mums and dads and just people in general, and business people. And like, I listen to podcasts, but I have to say a lot of them are British and American podcasts. I think over here maybe it's only starting. You're like driving that forward for people in Northern Ireland as well. So what you're doing is fantastic, and I urge everybody to download Get Up and Dad, and you never know what wee tips and tricks you might pick up. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what gets me as well. There's kind of like this shyness in Northern Ireland, and people are kind of afraid to jump into it, and that's why it's great to see yourself do those types of things, where it's just like, yep, I'm going to do it. I don't care what anybody thinks. Stuff them, and I think it works, and people need to do it. And deep down inside, I know we were saying goodbye here, and now we're on another track. I know. Well, it happens. Deep down inside, it's hard to not care what people like. I always say I don't care what people think, but like, if I heard somebody was saying something about me, I'd probably, you know, you're only human nature to feel something, but you have to realise what, I think if you always keep in your head, well, I'm doing that because I want to help Digg, or I want to get more money in the till, or I want to help somebody in the community. If you try and think why you're doing it, you'll put all the haters or all the trolls or all the negative comments to the side and say, well, look, it must be their problem. They're saying that because I'm actually doing nothing wrong. I'm being a positive person. So I think that's the only way you can combat that.
Let's get up and dance!
So guys, if you want to check out Caroline, please head over to her Facebook page. You can, I think it's brilliant. You can actually check out what she's doing. She's also on Instagram. Her stories are fantastic. Go check her out. This podcast was produced by BNL Productions, so head over there and, you know, give them a wee subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, guys.